Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to Combat Warrior Academy. Instructor Blade here. I'm working on a bow drill set, and I've already done one. So what I decided to do is I'll just talk you through how I got to this far. So I live out in the great state of Texas, where we have yucca and so tall. So what I did is I found a yucca stalk that's been dead for about a year, at least one summer. I went down and cut it right at the base, right down here, and I cut it in half basically, and I took the upper part of the stalk and the bottom part of the stalk, and that's what I'm going to use today to make my bow drill set. I am using the Combat Warrior Academy Sabayan to build everything. So what I've done is I went ahead and I cut a ring around it, snapped the stalk, then I took that stalk and I split it in half using a batoning method utilizing our Sabayan. So very quick, very easy, it's soft, pithy, it's not very hard batoning. Then what I did was I went ahead and I bored or drilled a partial hole. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. So all I've done is I do the 4 corners method. I drill 4 corners of what will eventually be my bow drill. All right, that's where I'm going to take my spindle and I'll place it in there once I drill that hole. So to go ahead and make that divot, I'm just going to carefully connect all those dots, those 4 dots. All right, and it doesn't have to be a perfect circle. It just has to be somewhere that you can take your spindle and it has a place to sit before we do the burn in. All right, so what I have now is a small divot, if you can see right there. What's going to happen is your spindle, one end round, the other end pointed, will sit inside that divot, and as you use the bow drill, will create friction. It will build up a coal dust. That friction will create heat, and that's what's going to end up igniting your coal dust and get your ember. Okay, now this side needs to be pointed. All right, it has to be pointed because you want very little friction. This is the end that's going to be in our bearing block. In this case, our bearing block will also be the Combat Warrior Sabayan. Okay, this is going to be where I stick my spindle or your bearing socket. Okay, one of the reasons we chose this material, G10, is because it has very low friction properties, so we can go ahead and use it for just such applications. I'm going to go ahead and get set up. I already have my bow made. My bow is just a branch I found out in the yard. Tied it together with some 550 cord. It doesn't need to be super tight. There is a bit of play, as you can see. And that's where we're going to wrap our spindle in. All right. So when we wrap the spindle, you just want to wrap it one time. You'll have a little bit of tension. You do want that tension. So if you see, it's wrapped in one turn. All right, now the amount of tension that's on there, you can see that it wants to snap back and unwind. That's absolutely where you want it. You don't want so much tension that it doesn't wind. You want just enough to make it tight. I'm going to go ahead and set up and do a burn in, and I'll go through the cutout process with you, and then we'll go ahead and get an ember. The wind is too high today to start an actual fire, but we'll go over fire lay and how to blow a coal into flame at a later video. Wait one. All right, guys, welcome back. So we're going to go ahead and do the burn in. So first, I'm going to take my hearth board, which we've already put a dimple in. I'm going to go ahead and set that down. For safety reasons, I will place my Combat Warrior Academy Sabayan back in its sheath, and I'll wrap the lanyard around so it doesn't get in my way. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set that spindle into the socket. I'm going to maintain that control. So all I'm going to do is set my foot on the hearth board, put my spindle right in the divot. I'm going to go ahead and go through the motion as if I'm trying to start that fire. I'm going to put slow, easy pressure. I'm not going very fast. All I'm trying to do is burn it in so I know where to cut. Alright, you can see it's starting to burn in. I can smell the dust starting to burn. And as you can see, I'll get some smoke. Alright, so carefully I will let this come undone. Set everything down. Now when you set everything down, you want to make sure not to let your spindle touch the ground or get in any kind of moisture. And as you can see, we went ahead and we made our first burn in. So I'm going to go ahead and take my Sabayan. What you want to do is you want to come in at about 1/3. So you want to go ahead and mark where you want to cut. It needs to be a nice, easy angle. Doesn't need to be very extreme. Okay. So we'll go ahead and we'll cut in our angle. Be very careful. Combat Warrior Academy Sabayan is very sharp. Alright, as you can see, we've come in about 1/3, maybe just a little less. Alright, so what we want to do is take this cut and we want to widen out that base. The goal here is to catch the dust that is created by the action of the spindle. So this will allow that to happen. Just small place to catch. Alright. What I like to do is come in at the bottom and I'll cut another channel just through here. What that allows is a little bit of air to come in and feed that pile of coal, keeping that ember alive. Alright. Alright, so that is our burn in and our cut in. Alright, next step is to go ahead and try to get an ember. So I'm going to get a dustpan or a coal pan. And that can be anything. It could be a leaf. It could be a chunk of wood like I already have here. So again, for safety purposes, I will go ahead and replace the Sabayan in its sheath. I will go ahead and wrap this around. And again, really just to get it out of my way. I'm going to go ahead and set up my pan. Go ahead and zoom in so you guys can get a good look at what's going on. Alright, so now again, we'll go ahead and set this up. So again, you want to get a good twist on here. So what I do is just give it one twist, bring it down right there. Switch hands, set my Sabayan up, put that spindle right on in. I'm gonna go ahead and set my foot right back on and adjust myself. Alright. Alright, same motion we did to do the burn in, we'll just start going. And hopefully you can see we're not putting a whole lot of pressure We're just going at a nice steady pace, and it allows us to build up that coal pile, allowing that dust to build. Once we get a good pile, go ahead and put on the friction, pick up your speed. Once you see a good amount of smoke, once you stop, if that smoke sustains itself, carefully remove your setup. Again, set everything down gentle. And as you can see, we have ourselves a coal and an ember. We'll zoom in, make sure y'all can get a good view of that. There you go, folks. Bow drill set with yucca. I'm Instructor Blade. If you like this video, remember to hit like and subscribe down at the bottom. This has been Combat Warrior Academy. Combat out.